the conversation of like big threes came up. And in typical Klutch Sports fashion, these guys literally went out there and tried to change history once again. And what Rich Paul said absolutely floored me. This dude went up there and said that you can't really consider, the big three in Miami were not considered a big three. It was a big two. And I'm sitting there listening to this. I'm like, you can't be serious. You cannot even be serious right now. So what I want to do is I want to play exactly what Rich Paul had to say on the Pat McAfee show. And then we're going to come back and continue on with this madness. Take a listen to what he had to say here.
Losing obviously hurts everything. Winning heals a lot of different wounds. And so, look, the names on the back of the jersey is one thing. We've seen it not work in other instances. 20 years ago, it didn't work. When the Lakers had all the names, they walked into Detroit and they was beat 4-1 in the finals. So that's not the end all be all. I always love a big two. I don't really love a big three. I don't really. People talk big three, but the big three thing has never really worked. And you say, well, what happened in Miami? That wasn't really a big three. There was three guys that went in the lottery and they did really well individually on their team. So they put up big numbers and had big accomplishments. But when you think about it, Bosh was the ultimate professional. He took a back seat and he played a role in which, because he had such a high IQ and he was such a professional as an individual, his approach to everything is what made that work. When you look in Boston, okay, you can say Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce was a big three. Again, thinking about names, but the way that offense was ran, Rondo's capability during that time, it was a lot different. When you've seen people go for that, it never really worked. And I've had this conversation with several different, owners of teams and having this debate, whether you go big three, whether you not go big three. I like a big two and depth is what I like. That seems to be a winning pedigree.
So you heard what Rich Paul had to say. Okay. Oh my God, these dudes, man. These dudes are unbelievable. Okay. So let's break it down first of all. This dude said Chris Bosh was essentially a role player. Okay. Let's go through Chris Bosh's numbers before he got to Miami Heat. The year before he got to the Miami Heat, he averaged 24 points a game on 51% shooting from the field. He was getting you 24, 10.8 rebounds, 2.4 assists, 1 block per game. The Toronto Raptors were making the playoffs every single year. The year prior to that, he averaged 22.7 on 49% shooting from the field and 10 rebounds. Now, some people say 24, 25. Yeah, you got to go back to the era. Teams were scoring around 105 points per game. If you adjust those numbers to today's numbers, that's about 26 to 28 points per game. He was averaging with more rebounds. You translate these rebounds to today's numbers, that's about 13, 14 rebounds per game. That was Chris Bosh. Okay, now let's look at the person that he tried to diminish right now. Chris Bosh was an 11-time All-Star. He made the All-NBA second team. This was before he was an All-NBA player, even before he got to Miami. I already read you off his numbers. Let's get to another player, right? Dwayne Wade. Well, before LeBron joined the Miami Heat, that year Dwayne Wade led the league in scoring. Now, the team had a horrible record, but he was the number one scorer in the NBA, and he was already a Finals MVP, All-NBA caliber player, multiple time All-Star. And in the 2012, I believe 2011 or 2012-13 season, if I'm not mistaken, the Miami Heat, this team that wasn't a super team, had a record 22-game winning streak in the 2012-2013 season. A 22-game winning streak. This team was so much of a super team that people like Michael Jordan and others were calling out the Miami Heat. Michael Jordan said, when I played in the NBA, it was more about a competitive thing. I was trying to beat these guys instead of join them, right? LeBron himself went out there on stage and said, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not. Let me ask y'all a question. Before LeBron said that, before he joined the Miami Heat, when did he ever say that? Let me ask you guys, since he left the Miami Heat, when did he ever say that? Now, the question is, why did he feel like they were going to win 6 or 7 championships? The reason he felt they were going to win 6 or 7 championships was because they were a bloody super team. We all know this. Don't try to rewrite history. Don't try to rewrite history. Because what they're doing is they're trying to rewrite history and make it seem like, oh no, the teams that LeBron, they weren't really that great. So therefore, we can't really hold it against them that he actually lost because they really weren't that great. Cut it out, bro. Cut it out. That was a super team.